So I'm Graham Lofthouse and we're here at Bankhouse Farm at Stow in the Scottish Borders. Beef and sheep farm, livestock farm, about 140 hectares farmed, 109 hectares owned, and the rest rented grazing. Been here all my life. My family have been here over 65 years, and I suppose I'm a third generation farmer. And I would probably aspire to end up in farming because I wanted to be better than the generation that went before. I wanted to achieve something and wanted to grow the business if I could, whether that was land area wise or whether that was financially. I suppose the big aspiration for me when I got into my 30s was that I wanted to be financially stable. I wanted us to be a productive, efficient farm that could farm without support to the best of our ability. I suppose when I took on the farm, my vision for where the farm would be and how it could be would be to be self-sufficient and productive and to leave us with a healthy income that we could live from. But I think a bigger part of that vision was that I wanted to have productive, efficient livestock that were performing, and performing to me was leaving a positive net profit from them. So costs in, I wanted the biggest possible margin I could be left with at the end of the day. And I wanted an animal that was capable of rearing her own, calving or lambing easily herself, rearing her own offspring quickly and efficiently. Yeah, we've got quite an efficient system here at Bankhouse, and currently we measure that system with kilos produced per hectare. So we're just simply looking at the number of kilos of live lamb or kilos of beef that go off the farm per hectare. Dead easy, simple equation to work out, or cost to work out. And I think the thing is, it's different for every farm. So our farm won't be the same as a hill farm, and it won't be the same as a lowland farm. So it's really benchmarking yourself within your own business. So currently we're doing just under 700 kilos of live weight sold per hectare, and we're carrying just over 800 kilos of capital stock. Currently at Bankhouse we've got a closed herd and a closed flock of sheep and beef, obviously. We have outside sires come in, and that's the only thing. We've only ever had 6 rams in to the flock. We're buying bulls every 4th or 5th year, and we also use a small proportion of AI as well. The reason we're a closed flock, I suppose, and herd is health-wise. I mean, we're looking to have highest health status we possibly can. We obviously manage the stock to be as productive as they possibly can. So you can see the cows behind us here, Angus cross cows predominantly, and we're producing stores from them to sell as forward stores September onwards, and it's about kilos sold, as we've said already, off the farm, be that beef or lamb. Currently here at Bankhouse we have a closed flock of ewes. We've called them an ultimate. They're a wool shedding composite. We originally had a Texel flock over 20 years ago now. And I think the reasons for our changes of flock or type of sheep we were working with is my aspiration to produce the ewe's own body weight in 100 days or less. And we had a particularly big Texel ewe that was over 100 kilos or near 100 kilos, and she couldn't produce her own body weight in that 100 days or less. We've developed a composite ewe which is a functional, efficient ewe, very low lamb mortality, 6.5%. Lambing time generally in about 7.5% mortality to sale, producing lambs that are meeting market spec at an R grade or above, 18 kilos plus dead weight. So I think we've produced as good and efficient ewe as we can, little intervention, high foraging capabilities and good maternal traits. I think if anybody is currently thinking about expanding their ewe flock or their herd of cows, I think currently obviously with the market situations for beef and sheep there are huge opportunities to expand. But I would say as well, be always mindful of your costs. Don't just press on and increase your cost basis. Always look at thinking, what is the margin I want to have at the end of the day? Where do I want to be? So it's all about margin as far as I'm concerned, but I think there's huge opportunities to expand the flock and the herds. I think if we expand flocks, we need to be looking more towards more efficient, functional ewes who can deliver productivity and performance with lower levels of intervention and lower levels of labour. The changes we've made on farm that would have the biggest impact are obviously genetics and nutrition. Other big impacts that we've had, are certainly significant impacts, would be from rotational grazing. We've been at that 20 years nearly now. We've vastly reduced bought-in feed costs. We're totally self-sufficient in forage on the farm. We're extremely low levels of nitrogen input now. We're below 40 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare per year. We've got a high level of clover that we're obviously harvesting free nitrogen from. We've got a low carbon footprint. I think big impacts as well would be nutrition would be top for me. Genetics is next, and health would be the last one. And generally I would say nutrition trumps all, but genetics obviously have a big part to play. Health generally follows on from nutrition. So if we can keep these three things right, I think we have a very positive chance of having a good lambing, or a successful lambing to me is low levels of lamb mortality. And for me, I think it's setting a benchmark and a target for me that's unattainable. So I don't want to say that I would end up with nothing, but I want to aspire to have no lamb mortality. And then reflect. I think the big thing is, at the end of the day, once you've set those targets, reflect on, have I achieved that target? If I haven't, why not? If I have, why? And capture those moments, note them down, and try and repeat. We've been involved with the Grazing to Profit and the Monitor Farm programme. I've been involved with the Monitor Farm programme since its inception, actually, in the Scottish borders. And I think the big things I got from the Monitor Farm programme and the Grazing to Profit was the exposure to peers and peer-to-peer learning. Also, the ability to have researchers and institutions from not only the UK but from across the globe available to us to get information from and make decisions about whether those systems would work within ours. Rotational grazing was the big one I took on, I suppose, early on, and was an early adopter of that, and we've seen huge benefits from that. I've also then later on in my career developed into doing some consultancy work on farm, and I currently work with 2 of the monitor farms in Scotland at the present moment in time. I think there are lots of opportunities within the Monitor Farm programme currently, and most of them revolve around grass utilisation, productivity on farms from grass. And I think there is good progress being made, certainly within the ones I'm involved with.